Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ukhti, I'm very well, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Sister, could you just introduce yourself for us and let us know what you do?
Yeah, my name is Khadija. That's my revert name. I converted in May 2006. At the moment, I'm a cupping therapist, self-employed. I was recently, I've been a foster carer, working with the authorities for about 6 years. But currently, like I said, I'm doing cupping therapy.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So,
Yeah.
mashallah, your sister that's wearing a niqab, and obviously you've mentioned that you're a revert as well. Could you give us a little bit about your revert story, how you came to Islam?
I don't have one of those really amazing, interesting stories.
Let us be the judge of that, sister.
Yeah. Well, I was raised as Orthodox Christian. I'm originally from Ethiopia, and my brother converted before I did, and that was like a huge shock for me. And then I was trying to kind of debate with him and kind of convert him back to Christianity, because I was taught to believe that Orthodox Christians is the oldest religion in the world, and that like everybody kind of thinks that their religion, their way of life is the correct way. So the more I kind of debated with him, researched into it, and I think the last one, he would just come back with, hit me with the truth, and I would go back, do more research to try and refute him. And in the end, I think it was Sheikh Ahmed Didat's video that he gave me.
MashaAllah.
And that was it. Allah subhanallah. I just couldn't hide from the truth anymore. It was a really difficult one, I remember, because I felt really conflicted. I grew up, worshipping Jesus and being really loyal, and I remember that night, that conflicting emotion that I had, and I didn't know how to pray the Islamic way, obviously. And I remember kneeling down next to my bed, praying, as you see, you kneel down with your hands together, yes, kind of praying and asking God, if Islam is the truth, then take out this feeling of betrayal. I felt like I was betraying Jesus. I was like, Allah, please take this away from me. If you're the true God, if this is the true religion, take this conflicting emotion that I have. And if it's not true, then forgive me for even coming to this point of doubting the religion that I've followed. And I remember I went to bed, and wallahi, I could say to you, I woke up the next day Muslim.
SubhanAllah.
I woke up, that feeling of conflict that I had, that feeling that I was betraying my religion or Jesus, whom I thought to be, my Lord and Savior, was completely gone. So that was it. Subhanallah. That was the prayer that I made, and it took a few months after that to kind of start practicing. But yeah, that was my conversion story.
Alhamdulillah. So how long ago was that?
Pardon?
How long ago was that?
That was in May 2006.
Wow.
When I found out about Islam, my brother converted in 99, but he hid it from us and he wasn't practicing. And I think it was in the year 2000 that he decided to tell me that he became Muslim. So it took some time, a really long time, for me to kind of, even look into it, to be honest with you. But yeah, I've been Muslim since. It took some time, but alhamdulillah, in the end, alhamdulillah, Allah guided me.
Allahumma barik, mashallah. See, for me, that's an amazing story.
Oh, Jazakallah khair, sis.
SubhanAllah.
It just doesn't seem, even looking back, I don't even feel like I'm a revert, to be honest with you. So when I meet reverts, I'm like, oh, what's your story? And it's like,
no, I'm the same. I'm the same.
Yeah. Are you revert as well?
Yeah. SubhanAllah. So like,
barik,
80, I think. How long is it now? Maybe 18 years, I think.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, SubhanAllah. So like sometimes I almost like when you meet new reverts, I forget that I'm a revert sometimes, or I just feel
exactly
maybe I'm a bit old.
You know what? So that's exactly how I feel when I tell people, you know, I'm a revert. They're like, "Oh, what's your story?" I'm like, "No, you know, I just want to hear about yours." And you know, it's not really. I know this is your podcast, but I want to hear about your story. But maybe next time, inshallah.
Inshallah, because I need to still share my story as well. So
Yes.
inshallah, once I do that, then probably put it in there too. Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah.
So
Inshallah.
mashallah, you've been wearing the niqab for how long?
You know what? That's a funny story as well. The day I took my shahada, you know, I was blessed to have. I think that's why it's so important to have, you know, the right companions as you come into Islam, the right kind of sisters, strong sisters. And I was, alhamdulillah, blessed enough to have such an amazing group of sisters that I was introduced to. And the sisters that I took my shahada with, I'm still, you know, one of the best companions, and I with them, and I still ask Allah that I will be, you know, inshallah, with them in akhirah under His arsh, and I love them for His sake. And they all had that influence on me. And actually, among one of those sisters was another childhood friend that converted and kind of disappeared. So in Jahiliyyah, we didn't know what happened to her. And I happened to find out then that she converted and she's in that group. So she was one of the sisters that I took my shahada from. And all of these sisters wore niqab at that time.
Wow.
And they loved each other for the sake of Allah. They had halaqas very often. And I remember looking at them, and like I said to you, I've done, after I became, I kind of was looking into Islam, I was looking at every aspect. And one of the things was niqab, because back in Jahiliyyah, that was something that I just could not fathom why a woman would wear something like that. And I remember seeing them around Whiteleys, you know, these Arabs wearing this, and I would I would feel suffocated just watching them in the summer. And I'd be like, why would someone do that to themselves? And I've always felt it was something that was put upon them by men. And I used to get frustrated, but I didn't know why. So this is one of the things that I looked into, because, you know, the obvious things that you're told in the Western world, you know, the niqab, the women are oppressed, and men marry 4 women, and all of these things. I looked at myself, I was a bit of a feminist then. So these were the things I've researched into, and I accepted and kind of admired at this point. So these sisters all wore niqab. And I remember a sister gifted me this abaya and hijab. And as I left, one of her husband was picking us up. So I was like, can I please, you know, kind of wear niqab like you guys? And I remember they looked at me, it's like, it's a bit early, you know, take it easy. And I was like, no, this is the perfect thing. And this, I've never felt so more free as I did that then at that time. I mean, coming from Jahiliyyah, you know, wearing, you know, showing it all, really, it's all about, you know, kind of exposing yourself and dressing, you know, a certain way. And for me, that was the first time I felt completely free. So I left that place, took my shahada, because I didn't have niqab. One of the sisters kind of adjusted, you know, this thing that you do with the hijab, you kind of do the makeshift niqab kind of thing. I wore that, and that was it, sis. I never looked back.
Really?
Yeah.
So your whole, since you've been Muslim, you've been wearing the niqab?
I've been wearing my niqab since that day in May in Shepherd's Bush, taking my shahada, and that was, I mean, we'll come to that, but there was a time where I had to remove it for a certain period of time. I believe it was a year or so, around 2011.
Okay.
But yeah, I wore it back again, and
Alhamdulillah, mashallah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah, sis.
Alhamdulillah. So you mentioned that you had to obviously take it off for a year. What happened then? Like,
that was there was a gap where I went back to Ethiopia for about 3 years. So I gave birth to my daughter, and I was staying there. And as I was coming back, things obviously had changed. You know, there was this, I think, was it Prevent that was about to be, no, it's not that. I think there was some sort of a terrorist incident that happened. A couple of my sisters, there was a sister that was attacked, and there was all sorts of things. And when I came back, there was that pressure from family, you know, and I had a daughter. Yeah, and I was like really scared, and and I didn't wear it for about a year, I remember. And I felt really, honestly, like I said to you, that freedom that I felt, you know, wearing the niqab for all those many years, and not being able to wear it out of fear of safety for my daughter and for myself, was a really difficult time. It was sad. And then I remember this one friend that I mentioned to you that converted as well, a childhood friend. She suggested, she was wearing it as well, and she said to me, you know what, Khadija, even if it is 10% of the time, 15% of the time, if you really, you know, feel sad that you're not wearing it, try to wear it in places that you feel safe.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then take it off. And then I remember I took her advice. I remember I made dua and I said, Allah, I put this on for your sake. You know, I want to follow the footsteps of, you know, the best women to walk this earth. I want to be like that. And it's such a difficult situation or times that we're in. Just make it easy for me. So I remember I wanted to wear it like part-time, and I wore it, and I felt like that empowerment that I felt the first time I wore it.
Alhamdulillah.
And to the point that, you know, I didn't really, you know, Allah's safety's in Allah's hands. So that fear disappeared. I had my daughter, you know, I was just living normal, really. You do get the odd, you know, looks and comments and things like that. And sometimes I laugh it off, to be honest with you. Sometimes I do that ninja move, you know, and they laugh. Sometimes they don't know what to say. That's what I do. What can I do? And that's it. Honestly, I've been wearing it since, alhamdulillah. That's what I do. I smile, you know, I just kind of do that pause, like kind of, you know, like tilt my head and you know, would you like some autograph, and just funny things like that.
Yeah, subhanallah.
That's it, really. But yeah, I've been wearing it since, again, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah.
Yeah.
So did you have any obstacles from anyone in your family then? Because obviously being a revert as well, how did the rest of your family take that?
Surprisingly well. I was fortunate in that sense, because my parents, in the beginning, they thought it was a phase. I was known to be one of the, you know, the crazy Khadija, you know, it's a phase, you know, maybe it's a trend. She'll come off it. It's fine. But when they saw, you know, the change in me, how happy I was in it, and I did explain. It's a form of dawah as well, and they've always respected it. Even my mom, you know, when I do go to visit her, whenever there's you know, men come around and I'm sitting there, she will tell them to wait there, no, she's not dressed yet, you know, cover, you know, put your niqab. So alhamdulillah, wallahi, I've been blessed when it comes to, I didn't see any obstacles from my family side.
So you've traveled to Ethiopia wearing the niqab, I'm assuming.
I have.
So how did you find that experience? And do you travel regularly?
Travel, yeah, I do travel. I'm not gonna lie to you, that is a struggle. It's a challenge. It's because it's a long journey as well. Not only that, the airports, when you wear the veil, obviously I do understand that you have to remove it for identity and things that I don't have a problem with, but people sort of tend to look at you in suspicion almost. And I don't know, there's some, I mean, I would prefer, I actually enjoy people coming over to me and saying, you know, just being curious, asking a question, you know, why do you wear that, and things like that, you know. But this kind of treatment that you get, and like you look almost fear in their faces, that I find difficult. But alhamdulillah, I guess you kind of learn to ignore it, I suppose.
Yeah, subhanallah.
Yeah.
I think what helps sometimes, if you get the opportunity to say something, just like kind of
Yes.
a little bit, sometimes that helps.
That's what I prefer, to be honest with you. Even if it seems rude, I would prefer to, you know, people to approach me and just kind of start the conversation, really a dialogue, and then you can explain yourself. But when people stare and point and laugh and, you know, kind of make kind of remarks that you can barely hear, that's a difficult one. Yeah, but I suppose you kind of get used to it after all these years. That kind of becomes the norm for me now.
Alhamdulillah. So do you feel that the niqab is a barrier, and if so, why or why not?
Really, that, mashallah, I can tell you, like I said, I was a foster carer for 6 years. And before I started, that was one of the things that I was so scared, because I felt like, how can I be a professional foster carer working with authorities, different professionals, and still maintain kind of, wear my veil? And I went into it, I got approved, and I can tell you the niqab is absolutely not a barrier. I believe you can do whatever. There are sisters that are pilots, and there are sisters that do, doctors and all sorts of things that we see, and the niqab not being, kind of preventing them from doing what they're doing. So as a niqabi, when I remember as a foster carer, I would speak to them over the phone whenever there's, for instance, a hospital meeting or school meeting or the police or anything like that, and I would speak to them on them. When I arrive with the child and my niqab, the look on their face is, is there some sort of mistake? Are you, are you the person? And I'm like, yes, I am. And then they will see the way I conduct myself. How the veil is just a piece of cloth. I do my job perfectly, and I've done it well, and it's never been a barrier. Like I said to you, I would sit in a meeting with so many professionals, with me being the only one with a abaya and niqab, and I come out doing my job well. And I so this idea that the niqab is a barrier, to be honest, to me, I've proved it to myself and to my colleagues and other people that it's absolutely not. It's not.
Alhamdulillah. So obviously, like with foster caring, I think it's a very important job, number one. Number two, I think especially in the Muslim community as well, because there's a lack of Muslim foster carers, and obviously it's not just the element of even the religion as such for the children, but even just culturally, I think it's quite important. In the in ethnic communities, there's a lack of foster carers. So I find, even as I live in the north, and there's a lot of children from other backgrounds, non-European backgrounds, for example, end up in foster care, and often what happens is that they're placed with English carers and things like that who don't really understand their culture. So it can be quite hard for the children in that respect as well, like identity crisis, this kind of thing. So it must like, have you got any kind of advice or to people like who would be interested or who have maybe thought about it and never like taken any action to get into the foster caring?
I would say definitely something that is such a noble thing as Muslims, especially, and there's a lot of Muslim children that go into care. And usually what's the best scenario would be to place a child that's with a kind of similar background, similar religion, kind of culture and things like that. That's what's the best situation, but that's not always to kind of find the matching kind of sort of matching foster carers is like you just said. It's difficult because not many foster carers come forward from the Muslim community. And I would say to sisters, if obviously that there's criteria that you need to have a spare bedroom, and that's all it takes, an understanding and empathy and things like that. You don't, that's all it takes, to be honest, to just, I would say go for it. I would say definitely there's a need for it, and if you do have that, like I said, the spare bedroom, it's the most fulfilling. And that the children that I cared for, some of them I still am in contact with, and to be a positive role model for them, even if it's for a short period, sister, wallahi, is fulfilling. And especially when you put, obviously we have to check our niyyah. Your niyyah, your intentions have to be right with Allah. So you do this for the sake of Allah. Obviously there's payment as well. You do this for the sake of Allah. Children that are vulnerable come into your care, and even if it's one night that you take care of that child and you kind of make a difference, I think, wallahi, there's no price for that. So I would definitely recommend sisters kind of who are interested to just go for it, really.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. I think it's really admirable, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about you've mentioned you're working now as a cupping therapist. How did you get into cupping?
Cupping, well, I moved into a temporary accommodation. So because of that, I no longer could work as a foster carer. You need to have a permanent home, kind of stable home for the children. So cupping, that's a funny story because I'm petrified of anything to do with blood, needles, like that. I faint. I'm not exaggerating. The first time the sisters took me for hijama and nobody touched me, I just saw a sister doing hijama and I fainted. That's the type of person I was. So for me, that's another thing when you put your mind into something, that anything is possible. So I remember taking somebody to Ruqya years back, and that sister, you know, she was getting treatments, getting ruqya done and things like that. And the other recommendations was cupping, hijama. So it kind of started out.
1 second, just like, if you just explain what cupping is, just in case there's some listeners who don't know.
Yes, it's a sunnah. It's sunnah, obviously, but it's a practice that's been done. It's a holistic approach that's actually been practiced for centuries. It's what happens is you create a vacuum on certain points of the body, and to remove toxins, impurities, stagnant blood, and things like that. So that will kind of improve your blood circulations, your overall well-being. It's an alternative medical therapy, and that's also known as hijama in Islam, and this a sunnah practice by the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba. So that's basically what cupping is. So yeah, because of that sister doing the ruqya and things like that, and then you know, somebody suggested, you know, why don't you learn? And I remember explaining that I'm not into that kind of stuff, and I kind of said, you know what, I need to push that fear, kind of face my fear, and I did it, practiced and then I decided to kind of jump on a course, done the course, and I've been doing it since.
Mashallah.
Yeah,
really is funny. So after being somebody who faints at the sight of blood,
oh my gosh, now
you take blood from people. Great,
like a boss. Yeah,
Allah,
yep.
Allah Mubarak.
Allah Mubarak. Alhamdulillah. Yeah,
Alhamdulillah. Gosh, mashallah, subhanallah. So
alhamdulillah.
Do you feel that wearing the niqab, obviously you've had that period of time where you didn't wear it for a year, did you feel that do you feel there's any treatment different from when you was wearing it to not wearing it? And do you think in the Muslim community that niqabis get treated differently from hijabis?
Yeah, sadly that's true. I think some people in the Muslim community kind of have kind of a negative outlook on the niqab. I don't know if it's ignorance or, to be honest with you, but I did have a few negative experiences from the Muslim community. You know, saying that, you know, people just kind of approach you and say, you know what, that's not in this, you know, in Islam. So, you know, you kind of, why are you doing this? And things like that. But when I wasn't wearing it, I didn't get as much negative kind of comments and things like that, where as much as I did when I was wearing it. People don't even tend to look at you, really. You just, you know, you do have that sense of normality, for lack of a better word. But when you do wear it, you know, kind of, you do stand out. But for me, like I said, it's about how it makes me feel and the reason why I wear it. And to me, that's a lot more stronger than what kind of other people think, whether it be in the Muslim community or non-Muslim or the media, as you know. So I think that I felt that won over that, and yeah.
So what is your why then? Why do you wear it?
I wear it for the sake of Allah, like I said, of course, first and foremost. And if it's something that I'm not perfect, nowhere near perfect. There's just so much that I don't know, or need to improve on, or need to pick up, to be honest with you. But I feel like if this is one of the things when I converted, that, like I said to you beforehand, that I hated and didn't really understand at all, but I read so much into it. And these women that we all should aspire to be like, the Aisha radiallahu anha, for instance, that I think it's a hadith where when the ayah of the jilbab came down, and she saw the women that came, something, the description was like they looked like is it crow, something like that?
That landed on their heads, yeah.
Yeah, that one. And obviously, like, I had to buy a whole book of I think is it The Veil or something like that, and things like, I did my research into it, and it's something that I accepted to be the best for me. I don't think it should be imposed on anyone. I think every woman should be able to choose whether to wear it or not to wear it. I don't think you're any less of a Muslimah if you don't wear the veil, or I don't think just because I wear a veil I'm better than the sister that doesn't wear it. But this is what gives me comfort in my heart, and this is my freedom. And I've never, as long as it's not like we discussed earlier, as long as it's not a barrier, it's not stopping me from living my potential, doing what I want to do in life, I don't see any problem. So that's why I wear it, alhamdulillah.
So mashallah, like obviously I've had a little chat with you before we started this interview as well.
Yeah.
But you said that you like writing, so have you done any kind of writing, blogging or anything like that?
I'm the biggest procrastinator, to be honest with you. I write and I don't finish, but that is my passion. Writing is my passion. Unfortunately, I've kind of put it on the shelf for now. My daughter, who's 12, actually, that's something that I kind of, mashallah, she takes from me. She writes as well, so that's I haven't written anything that's out there. I haven't, I don't have blogs or anything like that, except the odd Instagram posts and things like that. But yeah, that's just a hobby that I have. Maybe inshallah, something that I want to do
that
in
I'm
the
expecting
future.
a book from, right?
Oh, inshallah, just make dua for me.
So I'm going to say the two Khadijas. Yeah, the two Khadijas I'm expecting books. So that's the other Khadija, the Jamaican revert sister, and now you, yeah? Two sisters.
Oh, inshallah. Make dua for me. That's my dream, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
So have you ever met anybody who wants to wear the niqab, but they haven't been allowed to wear it by their family members, or maybe they're just scared to wear it? And have you met anybody who's forced?
I have both, to be honest with you. One is obviously a Muslim background, born Muslim, mashallah, raised Muslim. And she was actually one child that was in my care. And she's left my care now. She's, I think, 20 or so. And after she's left, she wanted to wear it. And she used to hide from her parents and wear it because the parents were dead against it, and they felt like it was un-Islamic. And maybe, like he says, I think it's a misunderstanding, sort of like they're more cultural than anything else. And I remember her being really sad about it, and I was supportive because she was, she didn't want to disobey her parents, but she was just torn between the two. And she started working slowly, alhamdulillah, and she's still not wearing it, even though she'd like to. But because of pressure from her community and things like that, they feel like it's just too extreme to wear the niqab. Unfortunately, she doesn't wear it. And whereas on the opposite end, there's a sister that I knew, her husband preferred her to wear it. Let's just say kind of preferred. She was very uncomfortable with it, to be honest with you. She felt I remember she used to say she kind of feels like she's suffocating, to the point that he used to give her a panic attack, but she used to wear it to please him. Yeah.
Wow.
But in the end, she kind of put her foot down and she said, you know, this is just not for me. I'm not ready for this. And she took it off. Alhamdulillah, he's been fine with it. But yeah, she had to wear it for a while, and it was the most uncomfortable she was, I remember. So yeah, I don't think anyone, like, it's not something that you push on somebody. But
not, yeah. Because I think with matters of the hijab, as much as the hijab is obligatory for a Muslim woman, you know, still you as Muslims, we make the choice to be Muslims. Yeah. So
exactly.
like, yeah, we need to adapt to all the things that come with that. But at the same time, you need to be able to be educated, to make an informed decision, to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, to have the desire to do it as well. Because when somebody's kind of just telling you, oh yeah, you have to do this, and you know, you just feel like, I think as human beings, we've naturally got it in us that if we feel pushed towards something like force, we want to rebel naturally.
Absolutely.
We just naturally want to rebel. I know I'm like that. You know,
I am like that too, 100%. Yeah, I think that's another thing with the niqab as well. I feel like there's a bit of rebellion where everybody's like saying, no, you know, the niqab. I'm like, no, then I am gonna wear it. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think it should be pushed on anyone. But unfortunately, it is in some cases and cultures, I suppose.
Yeah, subhanallah. So what would you advise to any sister who like she wants to wear it, she's thinking about wearing it but hasn't taken that step yet?
I would definitely say educate yourself, learn more about it, and ask yourself, you know, that it comes with challenges. We have to accept that. It comes with obstacles and challenges. Are you prepared to kind of, or if you were, you know, in certain scenarios, how would you handle it? You know, is it something? Of course, the support is also really important from friends and family and things like that. Educate yourself, learn about the sahabiyat, and you know why they wore it, and niyyah, first and foremost, is your niyyah. You purify your intentions, and wallahi, if anyone wants to wear it, I'd say go for it. Yeah.
So what, sister, to finally just wrap up this interview here, I'm going to ask you, what does the niqab mean to you?
My niqab is like I'll just say my crown that makes me stick out like a sore thumb. Sore thumb, but it's not in a negative sense that I see my niqab. I see it as the Prophet, Allah has honored us Muslim sisters, and with the hijab that includes, you know, your character as well, your behavior. So my when I wear my niqab, I have to act a certain way. It's like I think this is this example. I've read it somewhere where, you know, a policeman, when he wears his uniform, he's expected to act a certain way. The same way my niqab is, you know, to obviously show the world and myself that I am a Muslimah, and it's this is a badge of honor, really. The veil, the jilbab, the hijab is an honor. It comes with challenges. It comes with a lot of problems, but it you know, I suppose freedom has a price. For me, the niqab is my freedom.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us. It's been really amazing. Another amazing interview. Alhamdulillah, I always enjoy doing these. But mashallah.
Jazakallah khair, sister, for inviting me, and so it's been fun. Alhamdulillah. May Allah reward you.
Ameen.
What you're doing. Jazakallah khair.
وإياك. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister.